boy. There you go. Get the edge. Oh, my finger. There you go. A little bit on my finger. Right there too. There you go. Good boy. Yucky on my finger, yucky. I'll be right there. I'm just making my coffee. I'll be but just a minute, I promise. Maybe a second for you. I'll edit this. I'll edit it so that it looks like I did it in an instant. That's his favorite spot right there. I think I'm ready. Should fix my shirt, fix my hair. What does it matter? It just does. All right, let's see what we've got here. Good morning. Well, just about lost my camera. Good morning. I don't know if it's morning for you, but it's morning for me. Good whatever it is for you. That's what I have to say. It's a brand new day, and I definitely am going to enjoy this cup of coffee this morning. Yesterday's video. Oh, wait. First of all, thank you for stopping by. My name is Mimi, aka Lori. Mimi on the Move is the channel. Mister is right there. There he is. Maybe I'll just sit here and you can watch him. Then you don't have to watch me. How's that? Let's see if I can fix the camera accordingly. You never know what he's going to do, right? You just never know what the cat is going to do. Anyways, excuse me. It's still early. This is a continuation of yesterday's video. It's interesting how yesterday's video triggered some people. One thing I noticed, there was, I think 4 people. I think we've had nearly 300 views on that video yesterday. Something like that. And 4 people have commented. And what I've done is I've left my email address available for anybody who wants to comment on this type of video. Because what I did notice from yesterday, this type of video triggers trolls. It triggers people who want to judge, people who want to think they know more about a grandparent's situation than us grandparents know. People whose pictures on their profile are young. And I don't mean young like 20, because I'm in my 70s. So young to me is anything up to, 60. So it was interesting to see these comments yesterday. I did respond to them, but then I stopped the comments because this channel isn't about judgment. It's not about blame. It's certainly not about shaming. And it's certainly not one that I want to encourage people who know nothing about anybody else's situation to come out with comments that make it look like they know everything about that person's situation or that they know everything about that person. It's not the case. I know nothing about anybody else. We only know what's presented to us. So yesterday, what I'm going to do, if there's time today, after my little talk, if there's time, I'm going to address some of those comments yesterday. In all fairness to those people, because I have removed them. Well, I don't know if I removed them. I'm still learning how to do this, but I did remove the comments because they were not positive. One lady, young lady's comment, she realized, I guess, that she was being a little rough. So she actually sent another comment to say that she wasn't trying to be that way. So bless her for that. Bless her for that, for seeing that her comment was quite harsh. And I really appreciate that kind of ownership, because I'm a person who owns everything I do. And that's why I'm here, because I'm owning my life. And I'm sharing it in hopes that other people can relate and maybe get something out of it for themselves. I'm no magical person. I can't do anything for anybody unless somebody wants to do it for themselves. I think we left yesterday on something about being accused of being sensitive when we air our feelings to this adult person. Also, I want you to realize, everybody who's here today, what I'm doing is not necessarily about me or my life. There are components that are relatable to me and my life. But in the last 10 years, well, I'm going to say actually in the last 8 years, because it's been 10 years I've been estranged. In the last 8 years, I've interviewed well over 100 people in situations very similar to mine. So I'm not coming here without some kind of receipt of what I'm saying and some opinions I'm giving. That's why I'm doing this, because I feel ready. I feel ready to create a community of people that can support each other. And it's not about healing anymore. Most of us, some people might get healing out of this. I don't know. I've done my healing. I'm okay. But what I want to do now that I am able to, see, when I was going through the healing process the last 10 years, I couldn't have done this. But I feel whole again, and I can now do this. So hopefully it will benefit. Don't get me wrong, there's still going to be triggers for me, probably for the rest of my life. That's okay, I can deal with that because I'm accepting of that. All right, here we go. So yesterday we talked about if you say something and then you're accused of being too sensitive, drama, whatever, okay? So when the adult child does accuse you of being too sensitive, they've said something maybe and it hurts your feelings and you say that it does. If they say it in the middle of a very sensitive or vulnerable conversation, it's like they just drove a knife into your back, dismissing that you have actually have a feeling, right? They can also say that if you're being sensitive, overly sensitive, that means you're weak. So I'm going to suggest that you're not being weak, okay? That you're being real, that you're sharing your true feelings. You're reaching out, you're trying to build that relationship, not break it down. But you still need to protect yourself with what little you have left. So being told that you're being overly sensitive in a moment is difficult for the elderly person, the senior person in that situation. Because when you reach out and share your true feelings with somebody, you hope that you will be met with care, compassion, understanding possibly, but instead you've been brushed off. You've been dismissed. You've said something that made them want you to feel you're inconvenient because you're being too sensitive. You're not convenient for that conversation now. And I call it a bit of a cop-out on that person's part, not the senior part, the other person, because it's a way that they can dodge the responsibility of what they have just done, how they have just made that elderly person feel. They dodged it by dismissing their feelings. What they're saying is that you're not hurt because of how they made you feel. You're hurting because you're weak. You are overreacting. You are too sensitive. In my opinion, that is not love. That is not respect. That is a deflection. It's their strategy to minimize your pain so they don't have to address your pain. Because if they address your pain, they'll know that that pain was derived from the way they just treated you. The truth is, it doesn't matter if you're 5 years old, 15, 25, 75, 105. We all deserve to be heard without being shamed. We still deserve respect in our lives. Yes, we also must give respect, absolutely, just in case that thought came to your mind. It's a two-way street. All of this is a two-way street. We can still say, what you said to me was very hurtful. We should be able to say that without being it reduced to you're overly sensitive. And even if a person was overly sensitive, wouldn't a person who loves them try to help them through that sensitive moment when you love somebody? So that's what I was talking about yesterday when it was about being sensitive, overly sensitive. When it's just brushed off, dismissed, reduced, that's not what love does. And if you're disagreeing with me, let's go one place further. Please, for just a moment, put yourself across the table from somebody you truly love, whether it be your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your friend, your granny, your grandpa, but somebody you actually truly, truly, truly love with all your heart. And you're having a conversation. And then you see they have tears in their eyes from something, you just said something, and then they got tears in their eyes. You truly love them. Are you going to be across the table and ridicule those tears? Or are you going to say, I've just hurt your feelings, haven't I? I did not mean to. I'm so sorry. That's what love would do when somebody reacts sensitively. The shaming is not what love does. Sorry, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here, just one second. When your adult child looks at you and dismisses you from their life, now I'm speaking of those of you who have already been dismissed permanently from their adult child or children's lives. When they dismiss you, here's what they're really saying. You've done your job. Your time is up. You can go now because you don't matter anymore. You have no place in my life anymore. You've done everything you could for me. We're done. So that cuts pretty deep to the senior person who just spent the majority of their adult years caring for that person who just dismissed them. Because if you only mattered when you were providing for them, when you were loving them, caring for them, nurturing them, let's just say changing their diapers, running to every school activity or recreational event, when you were paying for all of their sports and whatnot that they wanted to take, right? They wanted to take it. So no matter what your budget was, you found a way to pay for it because that's what they wanted. Yes, you housed them. Yes, you've been teaching them to drive, giving them every ounce of yourself and more if you could, because that's what we do as parents. We always try to give more than we can. I put my daughter up on a pedestal. She was on a pedestal her entire growing years. I realize now that was a mistake, but in the moment I didn't. She was my pride and joy. Unfortunately, my son took a bit of a back seat so that my daughter could get anything and everything she desired in life. We'll go into that another day. And I'm still proud of what I did, even though it looks like I might have created a bit of a monster. And I say that in jest, okay? She's not a monster. When your child becomes an adult, and when they feel they're an adult, of course they need their independence. They need their own space, their own path. That's completely normal and healthy. And that's what, as a parent, we try to ready them for, so that they can fly out of that nest with their wings and be strong in the world. That's what we try for. That's everything we do for our children. But that independence doesn't mean kicking you to the curb. It doesn't mean erasing you from their life. It doesn't mean that your value has expired, because there should be no expiry date on being a parent. If anything, when your adult child becomes an adult, you would hope they have some kind of sense of gratitude for what they did have in their life and focus on that, not what you couldn't do. what you could do, what you did do. Only a person that wants to have the glass half empty will have the glass half empty. That's a choice. So if they grow up and they don't have gratitude, that's their choice. There comes a time when a person becomes an adult that they, as they mature, they get a deeper understanding of what it really takes to be a parent. The cost, and I don't mean just financial cost, the toll and the cost, the sacrifice, the emotional, the physical, and the financial toll of parenting. Now, yesterday for a moment I guess I poked the bear on a couple of people when I said pretty much what I just said now. Being a parent and the cost of in all those areas. Because these young people that made comments said, they didn't ask to be born. You had them by choice. I talked about that yesterday, and if you re-listen to yesterday's video, I addressed that situation. I addressed that comment before it was even given to me. Yes, you gave birth to that child. Yes, you nurtured them, cared and loved for them all their entire life till they spread their wings and flew out of the nest. Still doesn't give them the right to treat you badly when you did everything you could. Everything you could, and more. So when they say, I don't want you in my life anymore, your job is done, etc., they're also saying, expect nothing from me because I have nothing for you. Don't ask me for anything because I owe you nothing. You owe me everything. You gave birth to me. You owe me because you brought me into this world. Yikes. I can't even imagine if I would have looked at my parents that way. It's their fault that I'm here. It's not fault. It's a gift that you're here. A gift. None of us had perfect childhoods. I'm one of those people. I'm a prime example of that. But having said that, nobody has a perfect childhood. Nobody asked to be here. That's the silliest statement ever. The fact is, you're here. Make the best of it. But we live in a world now that doesn't like to be accountable for themselves. They want to blame everybody else for who they are and how they are. They want to be a victim. I'm not saying everybody. There's some really fine people out there. There's also some very messed up people out there. Anyways, when they say, you brought me into this world, you owe me, that sounds pretty harsh, right? But it's that kind of language that allows them to escape being responsible for who they are, because they can say, it's your fault, I'm this way. They want to rewrite the truth to fit their own personal narrative that they're building. They want to disconnect. They don't want boundaries. It's not just time and space. No, they want to disconnect. That's their power, to disconnect. They want to cut the tie and remove you. Why does it benefit them if they remove you? Oh, I know. They can go through life guilt-free because they don't have to be accountable for anything. They can just tell their world, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. So, if they get to move through life guilt-free, they don't have to face how they treated you when they became an adult. What if this happens to you? What should you do? If you are in that situation, all of those things happen to you with your adult child. Do you even know what to do? It's very confusing. Possibly you might need to step back. Love them anyways. Wish them well anyways. You don't want any ill will to your children, adults or not. But you need to protect yourself and your heart. That's paramount. Because at this age, our last chapter, we need to protect ourselves, because what we do realize is nobody will be there to protect us. And if you're, oh, sorry, something was flapping on my outside door there. It's all right. If you being a part of your adult child's life is a burden to them, if they think you're a relic, you're not. You might not want to participate in that role anymore. If you're continually being told that you're in the way, that you're a burden, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy of their company. You're not a relic, you're not a burden. You still are who you are, and you do deserve to be in this world, and you are worthy, no matter what they say and do to you. You are worthy. If your own adult child cannot see your worth, and you keep trying to prove to them that you are worthy, and they still refuse to see it, there's only one reason why they refuse to see your worthiness. It's because they don't want to. They don't want you to appear worthy, because then they can't get rid of you. Then they can't blame you for who they are. If you're worthless to them, they can blame you for everything and anything in the past, present, and future. It's all tied up in one nice package for them. So it's easier to get rid of you. Then they don't have to face you. What I will tell you is, somebody who might have been, as I call it, kicked to the curb. It's not a very nice term, but it's the one I use, because that's how it feels. It feels awful. Sometimes they have to get rid of a lot of other people in their lives, in their past lives, especially if they're telling lies about their childhood, or if they're extremely exaggerating things to fit their own personal narrative of victimness or whatever it is they need to say and prove. They might have to get rid of an awful lot of people that saw them grow up with those parents or parent, because the people that were in their lives all those years know what was truth. And this adult child who's not maybe telling the truth can't face those people either, because somebody might call them on it, and then they might have to be accountable. They don't want to be accountable. So, like I said, if your own child cannot see your worth, and you keep trying to prove your worth, and they still refuse to see your worth, it's because they don't want to. They've chosen to look at you through different eyes. But do know this: you do deserve to be treated with kindness, honor, and dignity. Settle for nothing less. If instead you are settling for less, in other words, those crumbs we talked about yesterday, the crumbs like the occasional birthday text message, things like that. If you're settling for those crumbs, if you settle for the cruel innuendos, if you settle for being guilted and shamed, then you need to maybe think about walking away with your head held high. You can walk away and still love them, because you probably do and you always will. But you can't spend your life begging for their love. If you have to beg for it, they're not into you. If you want serenity and calm in your life, that's not being selfish. That's self-preservation. It's taking care of yourself. That's your job now. Take care of yourself in your senior years. You're on your last chapter. Every day we wake up is, okay, I'm awake. I'm here. I'm still here. I need to be grateful and not live in the horror of the past. But if they keep beating you up, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that's simply mistreatment. And because you share the same bloodline, does not mean you have to accept that treatment. Maybe you gave them too much. think that's what I did. Maybe you gave them too little. In lots of parts of my life, I think I gave too little because I didn't have anything left. At the end of the day, I had only so much in me to give. I gave everything I could and then some, but sometimes maybe it wasn't enough. More than not, it was too much, and too much is not good either. It's just as detrimental as not enough. So maybe the balance wasn't there. I don't know. But the kind of self-respect that allows us to love our children, adults or not, it is self-respect. But it's also self-respect, not to stay plugged into their abuse of you as an elder. You need to have that self-respect as well. And when you start to doubt yourself, maybe try to remember that it was you that celebrated their first steps and their first word. And you stayed up all night when they were sick. And you did everything and more than what was required of you as one parent, or in some cases, you were doing the job of two parents. It feels like everything we did give was washed down the gutter. That's why I say kick to the curb, wash down the gutter. But it's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. It's called life. It will never be your fault. It will never be their fault. That's life. What do they say? Shit happens. So things happen in our lives. We try to deal with it, get through it, move onward and upward, but not give up on people that loved us with all their heart. But one thing is really important to remember, folks. If you're a grandparent in this situation, you are not alone. We are not the only ones. There are millions of parents like us. Parents like us who gave everything. And what did we end up with? Silence. That's why we're here watching this channel. We gave everything we could and we ended up with silence. We were there for every page of our kids' lives. Yet in the end, they choose to forget about us. They kick us to that curb, they wash us down the drain, and they're basically saying, don't let the door hit you on the way out, lady or mister. But listen to me. Just listen for that. Just a moment. Just listen to me, folks. Our lives are not over because this is happening, and this has happened in our lives. It just means that that chapter has come to an end. Because you do not deserve to survive on emotional leftovers. That's not living. You do not need to survive on those leftovers just to retain the title of parent. That title doesn't mean anything if they are not willing to be your kid anymore. Then you're not parenting anymore. Parenting doesn't end when our adult children still want us in their lives. They like it when we still parent them. They like it when we still support them. They like it when we continue to love them and get excited about the things they're doing and sharing. We do matter, but maybe we just don't matter to them anymore. And that's a hard reality that some of us may have to accept. But we have to remember to accept that, and we also have to remember that all the guilt they're putting on you, if they're putting a lot of guilt on you, and you know it doesn't belong on you, you need to let go of that guilt. It's a terrible, terrible thing to carry guilt that you did not deserve to carry. If your adult child tries to control you with their words, if they make you feel small for speaking your own thoughts, if they tell you that you're inconvenient or a burden, I really believe it's time to find the exit door. Even if it's temporary, find the exit door. You need to feel good about walking through that exit door and get rid of that kind of stuff coming your way. Because here is the truth. You are not alone. You will never be alone. There are many communities like this one right here that you can reach out to and not be alone. There's lots of different ways to not be alone. You just have to really kind of seek them out. So if you take nothing else with you, all my grandparent friends out there, take this. You are not broken because of what your child chose. You are not less worthy, and you are not alone. We do carry many scars. That's true. But scars are simply proof that we survived, that we still matter, that we still have love to give, laughter to share, and peace to claim for the rest of our days. And maybe, just maybe, the next chapter of your life is not the one that's already closed, because you don't have to live there. Maybe it's the one that you are about to write. With that, I'm going to close. I was hoping to finish this in under 30 minutes and do some more chit-chat about those comments, but I'm going to save those comments for tomorrow's video and address them. So listen, if anybody wants to email me with a comment, you can do so at Mimi. I'm going to spell it out for you. I don't know how to put words on this here. I don't know how to do that. I know lots of YouTubers do that. I'm not very techie, so all I know is how to turn on the camera and do a little bit of editing, but I don't know how to do the print. So you can write this down. You can pause this and write this down, or you can't pause it if I'm talking, but you can keep replaying it till you get it right. Anyways, MIMILOCKHART, the number 3, at gmail.com. MimiLockhart3@gmail.com. You can email me your questions and comments, and on tomorrow's video, I will address them. If you didn't get that, you can always go to my channel and go to description or about my channel, and I have now put the email address there as well. So you can always go there and find the email address if you didn't get it here. And I hope that you have love in your life. I hope it's coming to you. I hope you're giving it out. And most of all, I hope you stay well until tomorrow's video.